Good morning. Yeah, for you it's good morning. Yeah. Morning. Anyone there? No? Okay. So this is the problem of the online things, We can't see who is behind the screen, and it's very difficult for us to do. Just for you to know a little bit more about us and our team. I have Patricio Vieira, it's our designer and creative director. And we have Natasha, that's the person that is on the international sales. So, and we are a small team of workers with a strange project that I will try to explain you a little bit more today, okay? So, good morning once again. So, Natasha, Patricio, okay, just to know some more faces, and let's start, okay? So, first of all, I would like to know if some of you know how a pencil made, okay? This is not the reason of our meeting today, but it's the reason why we still exist. And for that reason, I would like to share it with you, because a lot of people doesn't know how a simple pencil is made. So first, we have graphite, we have clay. So it's a mining process. It's a worldwide business, okay, where they dig those raw materials. Then we have the wood. And first, we have the trees that are cut in blocks like this, okay? Those blocks will be cut on sleds and impregnated with waxes. Then, with the machines, we open these grooves, we glue the leads, make a sandwich, and then after it's glued, you have something like this. 2 sleds with graphite LEDs inside, or color LEDs, and just then you will start to make the pencils. Basically, you have 2 different cutters that will cut the pencil, putting the LEDs just in the middle of the pencil. So to do this, okay, many people have collaborated all around the world, to make a pencil. And the simple pencil that we all have since we are kids, since we play with it, okay, it's an affordable, a cheap object, and suddenly we don't recognize all the value, all the know-how, all the capacities, and that were used to make this, okay? Viarco, it's a very small, ancient factory, okay? In the 70s, we start to lose our capacity to compete with the big brands like Faber-Castell, Stadler, Carandash, and others, and suddenly it was much more affordable and cheap to buy a final product in China than just buy 2 sleds of cedar wood. So 2 sleds of cedar wood can be as expensive as the final pack of 12 pencils that you can buy in any shop or supermarket. So without the capacity to compete, without the capacity to be able to use the same tools of management we start to develop a different kind of project. We start to look to the knowledge behind the pencil. We have the chemistry, we have the engineering, we have all the process, a lot of process, more than 30 process eventually to have a final product. And we understood that there's a lot to explore. So the first time we noticed that we were able to do different things was when we developed the watercolor graphite in 2007. Okay, we have a very close relation with artists. We have our own atelier here at Viarco, and we do this combination between technical knowledge and creative approach, we start to understand that we could do different things. So the watercolor graphite, Art Graf, was the first product that we made for artists. And basically, this allows you to paint with graphite. So it works like a watercolor, okay? You can make light, very light grays, and at the same time, you can do the very dark values, okay? It's just a matter of controlling the amount of graphite that you want to put on it. So instead of drawing with graphite, we could start to paint with graphite. And this changed the way as a very traditional material as graphite could be used on an artistic way. When we did this, and we did this because we have a friend that's a painter, after that, we have a friend that's a sculptor. And sculptures, normally, they think big. And in this case, another friend told us, do something big for me, please. Something that I can use on stones, something that I can use on wood to mark. And we did the Excel, okay? And when we did this, and when we start to make this, we wanted to be related with the watercolor. So we think, or we thought, that eventually it could be nice if this big chunk of graphite could be very smooth and at the same time highly soluble. Because this way you could mix disciplines, drawing and painting. Questions? Any question?
I have a personal question. What surface is that? What paper is that?
This is a Canson paper, watercolor, I think 200 grams.
Mixed media. It's not the good one for watercolor, but it's a mixed media, not too expensive paint.
Okay.
How do you blend the watercolor pigment with the graphite? Is that like as a ratio, or how? What do you? Is it watercolor pigment that you work with and infuse into the graphite? Is that how you do this?
You need to think in those kinds of combination as if you were in a kitchen. Okay, when you are in a kitchen, and imagine that you want to make a cake. You have eggs, you have flour, and you have sugar, okay? And you have a perfect recipe to make that cake. When you have that, you know, if you put more eggs, it will be much more humidity, you know? And if you put chocolate on it, you will change it and you will start to make a chocolate cake. So basically, all the industry of inks, of pencils, or sticks, whatever, okay, we all use the same basic raw ingredients. And then what changes, it's what you add, what you remove in the time of the process that you can stop or you can move forward. You know, the thing is, so this is not how to tell you super innovative something, you know, it's just a matter of perspective and just a matter how you pretend to use. Because when you define a focus, you know, you say this will be a watercolor. You know that to make watercolors, you need just a little amount of pigment, you know, because you want that the colors to be bright and to be, what's the word, transparency and things like that, you know. And if you want to make a gouache or if you want to make a oil, eventually you will need to put more pigment because you want opacity. So the thing is, if you don't define what people will do with the materials, you know, they can start eventually to search for alternatives. So we made the watercolor, we made the Excel, and then all the things starts to come, you know. First, people that say, I want to control the grays when I'm painting. And we made it in powder, because in powder, you can use it in different ways. Imagine, I have something open here, okay? Imagine this, I can put a little bit of powder here. It will work as a regular graphite powder, you know, you can blend it, but at the same time, you can use it to mix it with water or with other ingredients or with other mediums that are water-based. So actually, you can control, not just because if you paint with graphite powder, pure graphite powder, everything will fall. You know, you put it on the paper, even you can make some kind of paste or something, but when you use it and when it's dry, it will fall. So basically, we are playing all the time with the same raw materials, but in different compositions. Because once again, if you this is a paste, okay? If you don't define the shape of the tool, if you don't define the support where it will be used, you know, things can be different, because just by touch, you know, they start to create marks. So, and the thing, once again, if you start to think, what kind of people can use this? Okay, we don't know, you know. Artists tend to have their own ideas about things, you know. And when you have the possibility to experiment different things, you know, this is always a nice thing. So basically, you see, you can make big lines, large lines, have different kind of textures. You can create patterns or stamps or things, you know. This is not something that you would use, you know, to make a small drawing. with something like this, you want to make big drawings, you want to make big marks, you want to do things, you can enlarge scale of the work, and you can change time of execution. Because if I have a big wall or a big drawing to do that, and I have a pencil like this, okay, it doesn't work the same way as a pencil. It's graphite, I draw, but it's not a pencil. And actually, I also can use it to paint. So the idea of changing things, you know, take the advantage of having a factory, of having the know-how, having the people, and at the same time, this really close connection with artists. Imagine this, this month we had 2, 3, 4, 5 artists from different parts of the world. Now, this month, another one will come, and so this is happening all the time. People that come to work into the factory as an artist, you know, that spend weeks here making things, making experiments, and we try to understand what possibilities exist behind their approaches and our capacity to transform it. Okay, so we are not just, you know, the idea of playing about the same raw materials and making the same thing in different perspectives. It's not just that, it's actually what can we do as manufacturers of tools to bring something different, to bring something original that people can play with it, okay? We are not really interested in competition. We don't want to steal the market to others, you know? We just want to have the opportunity to create our own way of having our business, you know? And imagine this, you know? One of the things that thank you very much. Dirty hands. No, but dirty hands that you can clean it easily with a baby wipe. So this is good because you don't need, you know, those really complicated things to remove material. So baby wipe, water and soap, it's enough. I was telling you and explaining you that the relations that we have with artists allow us to try to understand things in a different way. And one of the things that we learn is people likes to play, you know, and when you give the opportunity to artists to have a pencil factory, you know, to have a pencil factory to play where they can use paper, where they can use materials, where they can test and in the end send everything to the garbage if it needs, you know, we start to understand that the idea of control, the idea of, you know, being super skilled, it's not so important as the possibility to play, you know, because children, they like to play. And one of the things that happens when we become adults, we start to have a lot of concerns about what we are doing. And for us, we start to understand that drawing, it's, I don't know, a basic, almost basic need or behavior of human people, you know, because kids, they start to represent themselves easily, you know, they make this is father, this is my mother, this is, and they make symbolic things, you know. they need to learn how to draw the letters, you know, to learn how to write. So the need or the possibility to play with drawing, to do different approaches to the materials, you know, allow us to understand there's much more here than just, okay, let's do business. Business, it's everything that sustains a company, okay? But at the same time, as an industry, we need to have that kind of sense of opportunity, that is, we have the knowledge to do other things than just business. So, I show you some of products of graphite. Those things are toys that we have been developing for the past few years. And now I will introduce some color here, okay? Always with the same idea that, one, we make pencils, you know? So drawing, it's something that we understand. Drawing is something that we like, and drawing, it continued to be the reason we are a pencil factory. That's the reason why I show you how to make a pencil. We don't forget who we are, where we come, okay? So drawing, it's an important thing. But we have learned that you don't need to qualify something, okay? Because if you try to do things differently and try to achieve different results, okay, we start immediately to understand that, imagine this, okay, let me put this here. Okay, okay, no. Okay, so this is not water, but I will do this here. If you have questions, please let me know. If it's getting too boring, please let me know. So imagine this. This is a drawing tool, right? I use this to draw. We choose the shape of the tailor shawl because it's a very traditional shape, and at the same time, because it's something that relates differently on your hand. So the way that you will use to draw, it will be different as a pencil. But if you are a watercolorist, okay, you can grab a little bit. You let the brush. Okay, and you start to have your watercolors. So it's not a watercolor, but it acts like a watercolor. So if I grab this, no. Okay, here I have some drawing. Okay, this is a baby wipe. And I can make a very, very, very large thing, you know? And I start to transform everything on a kind of drawing tool. So, but if I want to make inks, okay, I can't come here, go and put too much water here. And when I start to have some ink, I can eventually pump it inside of a marker, okay? You all see those things, okay? But I can use it to pump into a marker, or eventually I can use it. Okay, this is will be not too much soluble, but I will try. You can use it for calligraphy eventually, you know. So you have a lot of different purposes here that you can use. You can use it in a wet surface. You can use it on a dry, I forgot the word. Okay, and eventually you can also use it on plastic, on glass. So the idea of drawing on paper, it's also, you know, a preconceived idea. So I don't know what to tell you anymore. So,
vamos aqui uma questão. Com outro meio.
Okay, so I saw that you have some questions here, okay? And I could tell you things like this. One, as I told you, those are basic raw materials, you know, and the main component, it's, in this case, pigment. So you can mix them with all other mediums that you have, you know, one to draw or to paint. If it's water-based mediums, it's okay. You can mix them, you can use them to make new colors. You can do whatever you want to do with that. You can draw, you can paint. So I don't know if I have my question. Any question? No, we don't use
Yes.
Arabic gum.
I'm an acrylic artist and I varnish my paintings after they're dry. Is there any type of varnish that you put on your final product to protect it?
If you want to fix depending on the way that you use the material, you know, because you can use it in dry or you can use it in wet. So we will have different things. But one, the spray fixative for graphite or for dry pastels, okay, it would be enough and it would be good. If you want to apply varnish or lacquer on it, it's possible, okay? We have tried even with resin, it works perfectly well, okay? If you have some work that it's made on a glass or on a plastic or in a ceramic or in something like that, and you want to apply resin, it will work, it will not drag anything. It's very, very interesting. I'm sure that it's possible to apply regular lacquers that you use on other materials. However, I don't have that experience, you know, so I would always advise try first, you know, because the fixative, when you use a spray fixative, okay, you don't drag anything. So if you have a material that you can paint and that you can draw, eventually you can have loose material. And when you're going to apply lacquer, if you don't have some careful, eventually it can drag, okay? But the material, when it's used and it's done, okay, if you have loose material, use a spray fixative, or eventually use a fixative and then a lacquer. Okay, so questions. I need some questions. I need to hear something from you, please. Okay, nothing?
The reactivation question. So once the product is dry,
Yes.
does it stay permanent or will it, you know, if you added more water, is that it? Is it like a ink tents that it's just done? Once you've wet it, it's over?
When you draw, it can be always be activated. Okay, if I do this, okay, and then I come with water, it will be activated. Okay, however, if it was something that was used with water like this, okay, it will be not very activated. You see, it's fixed. If I pass here, it will blend something. You see, if I'm here in an area that is already more or less dry, you'll see that it stains. So, did I answer your questions?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
thank you. You demonstrated it perfectly.
Okay. So, if you look to this, okay, this is more close to painting than to drawing, but you can actually do very opaque things, okay? I don't like to do this very much because then the things get, you know, in your hands. But with this, you can do very, you know, opaque layers, you know? So it's not actually a drawing material, you know, it's a drawing material, but at the same time, it's a painting material, something that you can use on paper, something that you can use on a glass, something that you can use on the wall. We have things drawn and on our factory walls that are on the outside for 3, 4, 5 years. You know, they are not in perfect conditions, and if you go there with your hand and pass on the wall, you will get the blue and the black and the yellow and things like that, okay? But it stays there. So it's very, how to say, you have a lot of pigment here. Actually, this should be called compressed pigment because the main raw material that you have on those blocks, it's pigment, you know? This was we thought, you know, what is the maximum amount of pigment that we can put in the same place and make a tool to draw and paint with it, you know? Normally, the industry makes the opposite. We think, what is the purpose? It's a watercolor, so put this. It's a gouache, so put that. It's to paint the walls of the construction. Put this. So we define in industry what is the amount of pigment that customer will need, thinking that he will use a pencil to draw, he will use ink to paint, you know. And this is something that we are actually really conditioned on our mindset. You know, all those strange things I show you, you know, like the toys to play. You know, this is stupid. This is a nonsense. Okay, if you start to think on this. Or you know, if you start to think on those kinds of tools, okay, they don't make sense, you know, because they are for a small number of customers. Okay, this is not actually a mass product. We need to find the craftsmen to be able to do it. But suddenly we realize a lot of things. One, there are people that cannot grab things because they don't have functional hands. We understood that I cannot be a virtuoso, okay, but I can have fun. And suddenly we were making projects on psychiatric hospitals with this kind of idea. You know, what happens when people are free to play? What happens when are people to experiment things without the pressure or the obligation to do something, you know? So basically, you have tools that you can use in many different ways. You can use traditional tools like brushes or nibs or things, or eventually you can make your own tools like this. This is a felt tip, okay? Something that our city makes hats, you know, and we went to the hat factory and searched for some filters, and suddenly we realized this could be a really nice felt pen, okay, without the tube, basically. So it's a very free and how to say, democratic tools, you know, you can play with that. You don't need to follow techniques, you know. You can use it. Okay, things like, you know.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, please.
Could you tell us what kind of binder you put in these pigment blocks? Is it gum arabic or something like that? And could you also tell us about the light fastness of the pigments?
Okay, so about light fastness, okay, we should have a final report of that in the next few weeks, and we are waiting, okay? And all the materials are light fast, okay? They are probably all in the maximum rate. We had a change, just for your information, in the past. That was to change the magenta, okay? The magenta was the only color that didn't have the maximum evaluation on light fastness. So we changed it already, okay? We are waiting for the tests that are being made here in Portugal by the University of Fine Arts of Lisbon, because they have the equipment to do those things, you know, and but we will be able to give you all this kind of information about the binder. Pigments are different from each other, okay? So you just can't develop a recipe and apply it to everything, because they will not work properly, you know? So imagine this, the yellow, it's very light. But if you are using the sanguine, for instance, it's much heavier. So for different pigments, we have different recipes. But the first thing is, what is the maximum amount of pigment that we can apply? So what is the maximum thing that we can put? So basically, you have always a lot of pigmentation here. Oh, so I destroy everything now. Okay, so about binders. So one, we have kaolin in some of them. Okay, we have talc in other ones. And then we also have a kind of glue that it's called telos, okay, that will aggregate everything. And then you have different baths for the colors. I don't know if I was clear. Maybe
I don't recognize any of those binders except the kaolin.
Yes.
So are the binders actually listed in the list of ingredients when you purchase them?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, they are in the technical data sheets, okay, and I think it's the technical data sheets, okay. You can ask them, and we can send them to you, and you have all the ingredients, the list of ingredients there. Okay, they are conforming the regulations of ASTM B4236, I think it's that one. Okay, some of the colors they actually can be used by children. Okay, so we have some colors that are according to the regulation of toys, you know. So this is because once again, this is a little bit strange, you know. If you think on artists, okay, you want to give them the best, but then when it's for kids, you know, you want to give them the cheaper things. So this idea of having tools, you know, that should be available, you know, at homes, for families to play together. Okay, so this is also a concern that we have. We are not, how to say, vegan certified, okay, but we could be. You know, because we don't use materials for derivated from animals. It's okay. I don't know. We have a question here if they are allergen free. Okay, so this is something that I cannot tell you, you know, I don't understand. I don't know what are the regulations that you need to have to use that. But I don't know. I know that we have some colors, not all, but we have some colors that can be used by children for more than 3 years. So, another question. If we are thinking on expanding the palette in the future, okay. This is a question, a tricky question, because we would like to keep it simple, the simple as possible, you know. Artists, they always made their own colors. They always made their own things. You know, they never need an industry to provide them. So when they have the need to make things, they just make them. So of course that our development leads us to this. It's easier, it's more comfortable, it's more, you know, even affordable in some ways to buy the inks that or the materials instead of making them. So we would like to keep the palette as simple as possible, because when you start to combine the colors, you start to make new colors, you know, and this is basic. Of course, that if you want to extend, really extend the possibilities, we will need to include other colors, okay? We will need to include citron yellow, we will need to include eventually an orange or a purple, you know, and but the idea is to keep the palette small, you know, the small as possible, because this, please remember this, we are a very small company working in a old and ancient factory, okay? We cannot guarantee a stock of 200 colors. It's impossible. We don't have that kind of support, you know, and you as a professional, you know that even that we have 200 or 300 colors, normally people buy 10, 5, 20, you know, that are the most valuable of all. So we cannot do that, and we are not interested in to do that. We are interested that people understand that we need to change things, you know, because today, this is all about digital. This is all about fast. This is all about immediate. You know, with the development that we achieve today, you can ask artificial intelligence to make you the text, to make you the image, to make you the music, to make you things. You know, so this is not just about making beautiful images or beautiful art. You know, this is about human emotions that you can put or not on artwork or in a piece. And we need to give value to that. Okay, one, people need to be able to be independent, to make their own things, you know, to be able to create. Because with a piece like this, okay, if you are a watercolorist, you will have material for years, you know. But eventually, if you have materials for years, eventually you can enlarge your scale. You know, you can start making things bigger, or eventually you can, you know, this is the thing that we are thinking about. You know, when we think the future, we think that we don't like our days. You know, everything become very dark and obscure. This is all about the money. We have laws and then we don't follow them, but we continue to applaud everyone that has success, and success is about having money, and everyone wants to be rich immediately, because being rich, you know, you are happy. And this was the kind of mindset that brings us here until now, today. Okay, we become predators. We want more and more and new and more. And the industry lives from that. You know, we need to make things small or that can be get to the end fast, because they will be replaced. You know, but for our reality, we are small. Okay, we don't have anything to lose for giving more. Okay, we prefer to invest everything on the product in order to guarantee, you know, a recognizable value of the material, than make a cheap thing and go spend money to promotion. Huh? So, things that I think it's important, you know, because this is about products, this is about business, this is about making money. But when you are in the art materials business, you know, you are allowing people to have fun. You know, you allow people to express themselves. You allow people to spend time with themselves. So, I lost. Oh, you want to see the other colors? Okay. Oh, I'll make something. Let's see. Yes, imagine it's part of the story. And so, black. I'm a little bit black. This guy's So
Sanguine.
I'm not cleaning the brush very well, but
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, this is a earth tones set. We have the earth tones, the primary colors, and the monochromatic set.
So
Are they
this-
reflective of medieval manuscripts? They look very much like they would be sourced locally and used.
okay. So the thing is, that when we never know, we are not artists, okay? We don't teach people how to draw or how to paint, we just create opportunities to experiment things or to try to do other kinds of things, So as I told you earlier, we are not interested to compete with anyone. Okay, we actually believe in collaboration, in cooperation, in sharing, and those are the kind of values that we really would like to be connected and related, related and connected with our company, with our business. Just for your information, imagine this. In 2011, we were in total bankruptcy, we had lost our major customer, that was a supermarket. The financial crisis hit Portugal in a dramatic way. And my family that owned the business, okay, they wanted to close the factory. The idea was to close the factory because it was a problem, it was a non-business. So in 2011, I decided with my wife, Anna, to buy the company to my family. I'm the fourth generation working here. I really think that the pencils are a unique object of mankind. They promote a lot of important things that define us as humans. And when we were faced the thing that we would close the only pencil factory in Portugal, it was unthinkable for us. So even that we were in total bankruptcy and we didn't have any idea about what it's going to happen, we decided to buy the company. And we decided to get out of Portugal and say we can do this and we can do that. For your knowledge, we start to call the whole factory industrial archaeology. And with industrial archaeology, we start to have a program of industrial tourism. And with the industrial tourism, we start to make marketing from one side, a new source of revenues because people pay to come here. And at the same time, a very close relation with people that eventually can be a customer or it's a customer. So we were working on the atelier, working on ideas, we go to the factory, make the prototypes, we test, I'm sorry. Testing the materials with artists, and then we can show them to people in order to understand if this makes sense or if it doesn't make any sense. So we are always trying to find new things, finding new supports, finding new tools, finding things that you can use in different ways. Every time that we meet someone, from a different area, we will go and try to find new solutions. You know, if it's from ceramic, we will think ceramics. If it's a silk screen person, we start to think silk screen. And if we go to our partners, local partners, because our city, it's a very industrial city, it's a very small city, you know, but it have a lot of different industries. So you have hats, you have shoes, you have wallets, you have machinery, development of equipment, you have woods, and you have everything in 20 kilometers. You have all the solutions you can need to develop things. So, and we use their knowledge to make new things, you know? So once again, when we bring something and when we want to bring something, we want to bring something new, something different, something that can be ahead on for the existing things. It can be an artist, yes, but it can be also a art therapist. It can be for a studio, but it also can be to a psychiatric hospital. You know, we don't like to divide things. This is about having fun. You know, if you have fun in the process, if you have the capacity to compete or to bring something new, okay, you are opening opportunities for our customers, opportunities of thinking differently. I want to show this. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if it will be a good idea.
Why not?
Yes, okay. Okay, so imagine this. I told you that we are always trying things, you know? And one day we faced with a ceramic confrontation, you know, kids playing with the materials on ceramic. And since there that we are searching for opportunities. And this is a kind of prototype of something that probably will be presented next year on paperboard. Not like this, okay, but this is the concept. That is, imagine that you have a never-ending cable. Imagine that you have a never-ending support until you define that's the final piece. Okay, so basically, this is something that you can come. Let me see. If you see something, you can see. Okay, that you can come. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Something that you can use, you know, like a paper. Something that you can use, once again, to draw with your materials. You know, that you can change colors without any kind of concern. And then that eventually we can start to play with them. Like, once again, if you put water on it, so this will create a kind of never-ending drawing, you know, where one, you can remove or you can add, you know, things that you can play with all the time. And this is quite interesting because you can add a lot of different things, you know, can use it many different ways. And in the end, you just can clean it and start again, or eventually you can play with them, you know, without being concerned about what is going to happen next, you know, or what you can do with that, because what you want and what you need eventually it's just a possibility to play, you know? So this doesn't make part of the product demonstration, you know, but it's something that actually can show you the way or the power of the tools, you know, because it's it's immediate. It's something that you can actually play and play, a never-ending thing, you know. And I think it can be really useful, one, for artists to train, you know, things that you can use with the digital, because you can make the artwork, you can take the picture and you can leave it to digital, you know. It's something that it could be really nice for kids or schools to play, and it can be also interesting for many, many, many different ways, because this draws by itself, you know. When you start to do things like this, you know, erratic things, suddenly you start to see dimensionality. You see light, you see fluid things, you know, and it's like automatic things that happens when you are drawing. It's not something that you think on it. These are things that just happen, you know, and this can be really interesting for play, to relax, to test, to make a sketch, to make, I don't know, artwork. Because if you like, in the end, if you wish to keep what you have done, okay, to seal it with a fixative, with a lacquer, or with a resin. Okay, so questions.
Blocks dry with watercolors.
Do these blocks dry like? Yes, they dry like, they can dry like watercolors. Yes.
That's almost all the time we have today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now, or any request.
Yes, I had a question. I noticed you use water, so I gather you can use watercolor in conjunction with the materials you're using. What are the limits of using what you're demonstrating, like acrylic or oil? And what you use oil, but are there other media that you can use in conjunction with you?
Look, we know that if you have a water-based medium,
Yeah.
okay, you should have no kind of conflict, you know. So if it's an oil, I also don't think that you should have a problem on that, okay? Because the oil will, one, be put on the top or in the bottom, so I don't think they will get in conflict. The experiences that we have here in the factory, it's, yes, we mix them with many different water-based mediums, you know, because the main raw materials that you have here are pigment. Okay, so they are always compatible because they are what the market allows us manufacturers to obtain. Did I answer your question? Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
That was great. Any more questions?
Just one. The piece behind you, what is the art behind you?
Okay. Just a small. This was made with this.
Oh,
You know.
it's
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay. This was made with this, and this was a spontaneous intervention during a participation that we made in a art biennale you know, and we put the wall and put the materials, and 2 or 3 artists get there and did this. And so in the end, we asked them, can we take this with us? Okay, so they say yes, oh, and we bring it to the factory. But it was like a non-think, like spontaneous way using material by 3 different people.
Great.
So, and if you want to do, what are you going to? Oh, if you
Jose, this is Wally Charco here. I just want to introduce myself to the crowd here just before we head out. I am the representative for Speedball and have been working with Viarco for a number of years. I would just like to thank first of all of you for attending this event. This is our first ever customer demo across the pond, and it's a lot of effort by everybody, by Above Ground, by your team to put this together, and I just thank you for this. If I can leave the artist with one comment, it is one of the most fun, interesting products I've been able to sell in the last 40 years. Having grown up in the art market on the supply side, it really is wonderful to see a company that is back to the basics of having fun with art, has been able to develop a product that marries the drawing and the painting together. And it just has so many endless possibilities. We are just so proud and thankful for you guys being here today. Everybody has a great day. And I did want to say thank you to the team over there. All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No, this is for us. This is a big opportunity. You know, we don't have a marketing department developing things all the time. We are always the same persons that are involved in several projects, from the development product to participation in trade fairs and things like that. Okay, we are not professional of demos. We don't. This is our second time that the third time eventually that we are doing this. Okay, so we don't have a plan about what we are going to say or what we are going to explain. But the most important thing that we really would like you to keep this, okay, it's that we are trying, to find different ways to survive in this crazy world, that we want to give excellent solutions to people to try, but this is not something that we have. This is a collaboration, project. We have many people involved. We work with universities, we work with designers, photographers. We receive a lot of artists in residence here, for free. They don't pay anything to stay here, to be accommodated here, to use the materials, because we feel that, we have an opportunity to do something different. And your part, it's fundamental, because most of the products that we are developing, they are not easy to understand. This is not an immediate association. Some of them, they need explanation, and you need time or you need to have the chance to touch it. This is something that I would recommend. If you have any chance to put things where people can touch them, you will see that it's a different thing. Something happens, it's different. When you pick up in a big chunk of graphite and you see, oh, this is dross, what is this? There's a click where people say, oh, this could be interesting, because you cannot understand it when you see it on a shelf. Because once again, you have a lot of communication, a lot of things. People, when they go to art shops or art material shops, normally they go with a very define idea. Okay, I need to go buy a pencil, or I need to go buy a brush, or I need to go buy a pastel, or a spray, or a nib, or whatever. They go with an idea. Okay, so you have two chances. One, okay, you have the possibility to touch it, and when they touch it, they will ask more information. Okay, or then actually you need to have that all kind of marketing thing that unfortunately at this moment we are not able to produce those kinds of contents or those kinds of information, you know. Oh, we are Viarco, hoo, or look how nice we are. Sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Question.
We do have a last question. Maybe you can answer that.
On canvas.
Yes, I think so.
I don't know what is to prime. To prime it's to put that. Okay. Look, this material to draw, of course, if you have something that it's, you know, hard, it's better to draw. But if you look to this, okay, you don't see. So if you look at this, okay, it draws on my hand. See, so it will draw on canvas, but it will depend on things. What do you pretend to do with it? Okay, because I'm sure that you can draw and I'm sure that you can paint, but I don't know what kind of finishing you can search for it. You know.
Okay, that was great. Thank you so much to Art Graf and Viarco to like do this demo. It's super exciting. We were very entertained. It was very informative. If you are interested in these products, we have all the information on our events page, so you can shop directly from there. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you a great weekend.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Look, have a nice weekend. We are starting to prepare us to go one weekend because it's going to be sunny. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye, see you next time.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. It was great.
Bye.
Bye.